She was raised to kill a Jedi. She ended up marrying one. Mara Jade spent 17 years as the Emperor's most loyal weapon and then had to figure out who she was without him. This is her story. Mara Jade first appeared in 1991 in Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, and over the next 2 decades, she became one of the most important characters in all of Star Wars Legends. Everything in this video is Legends continuity. She has never been part of current canon, and by the end, you'll know exactly why. Before she was anything else, Mara Jade belonged to Palpatine. Taken in as a child and trained personally by the Emperor, she became one of his hands, a secret agent operating completely outside the normal Imperial chain of command. No fleet, no title, no oversight, just orders straight from Palpatine himself. He trained her in combat, infiltration, deception, and the Force, and sent her on missions the regular Empire never knew existed. Her identity wasn't really her own. It was built entirely around one idea: serve the Emperor, carry out his will. Then, in 4 ABY, Palpatine died at Endor. Mara felt it happen through the Force, and in that same moment, she received what she believed was his final order: kill Luke Skywalker. That command became the center of her entire life for the next 5 years. But Palpatine's death didn't just give her a mission, it took away everything else. The Empire was collapsing, and the only identity she'd ever had went with it. She drifted into smuggling, eventually working for Talon Card, building a new life on the surface while secretly, quietly hunting the man she blamed for destroying her. She finally caught up to Luke Skywalker in Heir to the Empire, and she hated him on sight. As far as Mara was concerned, he'd killed her master, destroyed her purpose, and left her with nothing. But the Thrawn crisis forced them to work together again and again, and hatred slowly gave way to distrust, then reluctant cooperation, then something like trust. The turning point came when Mara finally got her shot at fulfilling Palpatine's command, except the target was a clone, Luke Skywalker, grown to replace the real thing. She killed him, and in doing that, she satisfied the order that had run her life since Endor, without hurting the man it was actually about. For the first time since she was a child, nobody was telling Mara Jade what to do. Free of the command, Mara chose her next path herself. She trained under Luke and became a Jedi, and that mattered more than it sounds. As the Emperor's hand, she'd use the Force as an instrument of someone else's will. As a Jedi, she used it as her own person, with her own judgment, sharp, sarcastic, and never afraid to tell Luke when she thought he was wrong. Their partnership became a romance, and in 19 ABY, they married. They had a son, Ben. The woman who once had no identity outside of Palpatine's orders had built an entire life that was completely, unmistakably her own. Years later, a new threat emerged, not from the Empire, but from inside her own family circle. Jacen Solo, someone Mara had known and cared about, was transforming into the Sith Lord Darth Caedus, and Mara made a decision no one gave her. She was going to stop him herself. No Palpatine handing down an order, no master directing her, just her own judgment, same as it had been for years. It cost her everything. In sacrifice, Jacen manipulated her by threatening the one thing she couldn't ignore, their son, Ben. That distraction was enough. Mara Jade died in 40 ABY, killed by a man she'd once trusted. Mara Jade's story has never made it into current Star Wars canon, and fans have wondered why for over a decade. The answer isn't a mystery anymore. Both Timothy Zahn, who created her, and Claudia Gray, a current canon author, have said they separately tried to bring Mara into canon, and Lucasfilm turned them down. Zahn has described the answer as somewhere between no and heck no. Part of the problem is structural. Her legend story is built entirely around marrying Luke Skywalker, and current canon has already given Luke a completely different life after Return of the Jedi. Bringing her back the way Legends fans remember her would mean rewriting Luke's canon story around her, and so far, Lucasfilm hasn't been willing to do that. Strip away the romance, and Mara Jade's real story is about agency. She spent the first half of her life believing her worth came from serving someone more powerful than herself. And she spent the second half learning that she got to decide that for herself, who to serve, who to love, and eventually when to act completely alone. Mara Jade began as a weapon built by an emperor. She ended it as the one who chose on her own terms exactly who she wanted to be. More Star Wars lore is coming to this channel, and subscribe so you don't miss it.